The university had options. They can look to their own faculty of law, whose exams are entirely remote. There were other options rather than this very traditionalist view of you must come in to write an exam.
Students at universities like this one all across the country are wrapping up exams.
But for students at McGill University, they can't understand why their university won't make their exams more like this, virtual and from home amid the rising COVID-19 cases.
They allowed masks to be taken off by instructors, very dangerous thing to do. They didn't enforce the mask mandates. There were always people in the hallways without masks. There was widespread violation of the very few rules, and those rules came from Quebec City, not from McGill.
Richard Gold, a law and medicine professor at McGill, says that after several attempts from various departments, the university decided to go ahead with in-person exams, and on Monday, Quebec saying universities can remain open amid exams.
The School of Population and Global Health, so our global experts on pandemics, on infections, were telling the university that they had to take steps. The university refused to listen to them. They signed a letter. They refused to listen to them. The school itself wrote a letter. They refused to listen to them. The law school professors wrote a letter saying you have all the legal right and authority to do this. And in fact, if you don't do this, you're open to liability because you know that there are vulnerable people and those people are most at risk. And the university did almost nothing.
We saw students at McGill discussing on social media, particularly on Reddit, about how they're either recently exposed to someone who has symptoms or is tested positive, or they themselves have symptoms and they're waiting to get a test result back. And they have an exam coming up within the next day that McGill has kept in person.
Exams are to be kept within the school's sealed gymnasium where over 200 students will sit for up to 3 hours. And while the university tells City News in a statement that safety measures have been communicated to students, including information about exam deferrals in situations where an individual presents COVID-19 symptoms, many are feeling the academic pressure.
Students fear failing an exam because they didn't show up and their request for deferral is rejected. But in the more likely case, students recognize that if they defer their exam, they'll have to write it in March during the next semester while studying for other courses and potentially forego required credits from this semester in order to take future classes. So these factors combine to a sort of implicit pressure.
In an open letter sent by student leaders, it asked the university to not hold these exams in person, and if that was not possible, to move them to early January, which the university has not yet acknowledged.
Had we been consulted about whether exams would remain in person, we could have absolutely forecasted that students would have certain academic pressures and professional pressures leading them to come in person, and we would have advised the university not to maintain in-person exams this week.
Many universities across Quebec have opted to do online exams. As for McGill University, a spokesperson said the health and well-being of the community remains their top priority.
What we're really hoping for is a slightly more risk-averse attitude from the university, as well as consultation with student leaders so that we can communicate exactly what is likely to happen, how students are likely to behave, and what our safety and health needs are.
In Montreal, Felisha Adam, City News.